Okay, this is going to be a breakdown of Romp in the Swamp 4, the event game that we ran. It's been over for a week now, and it's taken a little longer than normal, but I got sick right afterwards, so here we go. Okay, let's see. I guess you got to look back at our other event games. Romp in the Swamp 1 was run beautifully. Um, the biggest negative there was we were part of an organization and we were using storytellers from other games who had different styles. And in the end, one of them ended up being one of the biggest cheaters we ever encountered in our life. Um, that was the only black mark on that event. So it wasn't even our black mark, it came from somebody else entirely. Okay, so then we ran into Romp in the Swamp 2. That one ran very well. I have very little bad to say about it. If anything, we ran it a little later in the season, so we did encounter some bugs. That's where we ran into the Moth of Doom. But it was a good event. Romp in the Swamp 3 would have been a good event, except for two factors. It was, as it was stated, the coldest it had been in 25 years on that date, and for that time of the year. That made it a little difficult. Plus, I only had one other staff member present, and he was not in any shape to run anything, so I pretty much ran that one by myself. But even with that, it still came out to a pretty good success. Then we hit Romp in the Swamp 4, where I had a glutton of narrators and storytellers to work with. Let's see. Mechanically, I'm going to give us a C plus to a B minus. This has been one of our better years in my opinion. Most of the mistakes were because of me. Last year we had some timing issues because we had everything slated, so, scheduled so intricately. So this year I decided to do it in tiers. It didn't work as well as I wanted it to, and therefore we ran a little bit late on Saturday afternoon when we should have been done. We ended up starting our big finale maybe 2.5 hours later than we wanted to. That put a crimp in a couple of the scenes. Okay, but we handled that. We had a storyteller who there had been signs that he'd been burning out for some time. I was worried about the capacity we were going to have at the event game, so I kept him on staff. I probably should have let him go when we first saw the signs and he showed an inkling that he wanted to go back to playing. So that's on me. And because of that, we had some disconnects and he did some stuff that we didn't have to red line anything, but we did blue line something that he did that was strictly against what we were trying to do. We had to adapt it. Everything still happened. It just didn't have the end result that he tried to institute. It had the end result that was closer to what we wanted to happen. Okay. Then we had the last disconnect we had was we had a cairn raising. So the various attacks coming in on the cairn, they were running beautifully. The biggest problem was because of my time crunch. I don't think my BSDs were given total justice. They ended up killing one, having another all but dead, and I probably would have killed at least one more if I would be able to play them out fully. But we had to get to our big finale, which was supposed to be the rise of a thunderworm. The thunderworm was supposed to be a big boy. Now, I've ran a small one in the past, a baby really. Killed 2 Guru, mauled a third, and a fourth got mauled trying to drag the third out. Third would have died if he hadn't done that. That was a baby. Okay, the ST, who was supposed to be taking lead on the story, made a decision he was going to run a combat like some mass combats they've done in some of the orgs out there. I am the one at fault because I didn't check what he was going to do. By the time I got there, it was already in full swing. I knew instantly it was not something conducive to our game. It just didn't work. As such, only one person lost their life against this Thunderworm. The Thunderworm was a static fight. Should never have been a static fight. It should have been a moving fight. So, that's why we got those middling marks. on that. Now logistics, about an A minus. There was cabin space, everything we had all the supplies we needed, more or less. The only two places we had any kind of blips was with food. One of our meals we had some bread for that we found had grown moldy, so one of our dinners ended up being a little bit later because we had to run somebody to the store to get replacement bread. And this year, because of the way the weather was, we didn't bring the hot chocolate like we usually do, and for some reason we ran out of drinkage, which was odd. But we won't make that mistake again. So pretty decent grades there. But now let's get to the players. They're great. Their grade's not as good as I would have wanted. And I might hurt some people's feelings with this, but it needs to be said. Let's start with our playtest character, the Werebear. There was a Werebear sheet there. There was a Werebear in name. There wasn't a Werebear played there, though. What I saw was a thugged out Guru played. That's always the problem with werebears. You run into, a lot of the Pharaoh, they're played like Guru with slightly different capacities and such. And I believe that's what happened here. And as such, in the way that they did stuff, a lot of people fell behind that Gural and let him do the fighting for them. That's not good. First off, even having him on the battlefield with you and even on your Bawn is dishonorable. And the spirits will note that, especially the 4 major honor spirits: Grandfather Thunder, Falcon, Stag, and Pegasus. Other honor spirits will take note as well. The fact that they let him fight when they're supposed to be the defenders of Gaia and the warriors of Gaia is not good. I had one of my veteran players say, well, we fought with another Gaian warrior. I said, where was our Gaian warrior? Because you know what? I didn't see any on the field that time. A Gural is not designed to be a defender of Gaia or warrior of Gaia. They are healers. They are keepers of the land. He didn't do that. He let 2 glades be destroyed so he could be in the middle of the action. In the course of things, he got possessed. He turned around and mauled a child of Gaia. Because somebody heard me say, as a storyteller, he was possessed, I don't think they reacted to it. Me and another person were talking about, because we're Team Lupus, because we have the majority of the Lupus on Sept. I play a Red Talon, and he was playing a Shadowlord Lupus. If we had been there and seen that, we would have ripped into the Grawl and tried to kill it. They let it step back, shake off the possession, and then the only thing I heard was, "You good, bro?" And when he said yes, they let him step right back into the forefront and lead them in the battle. I'm trying to decide how unwise that is. This Sept has been racking up notoriety. Players need to start learning that notoriety is not good. Every auspice has a job. If you're playing a Theurge, and you decide to broker a deal, you're partially responsible for that. If you see the Guru making a bad deal, you should be stepping in because you're the one who understands it. You should be guiding them. I mean, if you're not going to do your job, why should anybody else do their job when it comes to you? Why should they protect you? If somebody breaks the litany against you, why should the Philodox protect you? If somebody does something scandalous to you, why should the Ragabash protect you? There's a fight. Why should the Arun not just step aside and let them kill you? Why should the Galliards sell any of your tales and get you any renown? I mean, all 5 auspices have to be intertwined for it to work. And Theurges are a big one. And our Theurges have a little bit of issue. A lot of chaos ensued because of a couple of minor Theurges making a couple of grammatical errors when reporting to the Elder Council, which made all the other Theurges look really, really bad. So, overall, they raised the cairn. That was successful. Barely. Because even with what was going on there, I almost got to the cairn center and disrupted the rite. So they managed to do that. So now, my Chronicle has as close to a reset as we have. We're calling it next year Renaissance, which means rebirth. The topography has been changed because the worm has destroyed a lot in our swamp. The leadership is about to change. The cairn itself is brand new because the old cairn and the focus for it was destroyed. The spirit's new. Now, one of the big problems we have with our old spirit is a lot of the newer players weren't connected to that. They didn't remember the spirit and they couldn't get access to it. Everybody's on ground floor now. So we got a lot of this. The last thing we have is we have all the bullshit politics. And I love politics. But you know what? These aren't werewolf politics. These are vampire politics. So that's going to get fixed. I would actually guess that within a month or two, about the time that our fiscal year, I guess you'd call it, starts, the SEP should be back in order. And then we'll be planning towards our next romp, because Romp in the Swamp 5 is going to be the big one. I mean, it's a 5-year anniversary. So we're going to plan it a lot earlier. We're planning for it to be a lot bigger and a lot more epic. Although I will say this, I will never, ever do a cairn raising at an event game again. I don't like the way it locked the players in place. They didn't want to do anything because they knew they had to defend. I want something where they could be sent out because there's less fear there and there's more action. They have more fun, I think. I mean, I had nobody complain. Everybody seemed to have fun. We only had a couple of minor problems. Most of those were minuscule. So that's my breakdown for Romp in the Swamp. Like I said, mechanically we could have done better, and we will do better. Logistically, we did about as good as we can, and it's going to get even better because every year we build it up. And play-wise, well, the players are being re-educated. We got people who are about to hit the level of Athro. Adrian is supposed to be the student of the nation. Athro is supposed to be the teachers. If they did not learn as Adrian, they should never become Athro. So, okay, that about sums it up. Feel free to comment on this, and I'm sure that I got a few players who are going to bitch me out when they hear this. But yeah, you made your own choices. You could have chosen not to fight with the bear. You could have chosen to chase that goddamn bear off. I don't care if the wormfolk told you that it was okay. There's something called territory. You don't let the son of a bitch on your territory. That's what the lupus would have done. And and look what we did. We fed the glasswalker to Griffin. Why? Because Griffin was hungry. Okay, guys, take it easy, and I gotta decide what I'm putting up next. Ciao.